Good evening and happy new year, everybody. This is James Brew, emissary of the Brew Show, and I'm here with Leroy Hodgson. Leroy, happy new year.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year.
How were your holidays?
It came in two sides. Let me just say it came in two sides. It was relaxing during the first week of the break, let me just say that. And then the other side was just work. So, Charlie, it's a tale of two stories.
Not Rihanna's work.
Hmm?
Not Rihanna's type of work. This was like actual work.
Actual work, Charlie, actual work.
Did you get to watch some good football?
Unfortunately, nah, I wasn't really focused on football. I was focused on, you know, having that rest and relaxation. But I honestly still followed what was going on, and I was happy for a bit until last weekend. Then I realized that, oh God, my life is these people just make my life miserable.
I think I get where you're coming from. Last weekend, we had the first round of EPL fixtures for 2025.
Yeah.
We had some very interesting matches, but unfortunately, instead of the limelight being focused on players or maybe even coaches as an end result of what went on, once again we have to be talking about referees.
Oh, the referees. Look, when it comes to refereeing in England, I've always had a problem with certain decisions they make. I think that sometimes they tend to make certain decisions that technically are right, but affect the flow of the game or they make those calls too early. Look, you are not robots, you are humans. And as humans, you have to understand the sort of like emotion and so that you do not mess up, let's just say, the flow of the game. But you know, I don't know what's going on in England, but I've come to realize that their referee standards are below par. So I want to even compare it to Ghana referees. I still say England referees are above us a bit, but they are very bad. That doesn't take away from the fact that English referees are horrible right now. They are so horrible that the PGMOL, that's the organization for referees, keeps coming out to apologize. They just keep coming out to apologize. And fans are like, yeah, you're apologizing, but you still take away. It's
The
not like you're going to
points.
give me the points that I was thinking I was going to get. Because let's look at Arsenal versus
Brighton.
Brighton.
Which one, the home or the away?
Let's look at
The most recent one.
the most recent one. That was not a penalty. It was obviously not a penalty. Saliba got the ball. I do not know where the referee saw a penalty in that. And I would look at it and I'm like, okay, what the hell are you doing? Why? And there's still a couple of minutes left to play. Who knows? Maybe Brighton will score. So the PGMOL or the Premier League can't come and say, well, because there were like, let's say 15 minutes left, 20 minutes left, so we are going to award you the 3 points. Anything can happen in those 5 minutes. In fact, anything can happen in 1 minute of football. So you can't give the team the points that they think they deserve because you don't know what's going to happen in those few seconds, those few minutes of football. And it's kind of annoying because I get it, but look, something needs to give, something needs to change. And this weekend was just basically a poster child of everything wrong with English football. Look at usually when it comes to English football, we have one terrible decision or maybe two terrible decisions.
That stands out.
But this week has been horrible. Like it's just sad. Look at what happened at Ipswich. It's the referees. I don't know what's going on, but something needs to be done. I think the PGMOL needs to start taking this more seriously. I don't know how seriously they're taking it, but I think they need to start taking this more seriously because last year we were expecting there to be sort of like a change, but it didn't really come. I think it was only Wolves who voted for, was it, I think it was for VAR to be scrapped.
Yeah.
That was the decision, right?
Yeah.
For VAR to be scrapped.
Which wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, which wasn't going to happen. But here's the thing: I'm actually happy it wasn't going to happen because look at the kind of decisions they are doing with VAR assistants. What are you going to do when you don't have VAR assistants? Come on.
So,
It's,
so for those of you who are unaware of what we are complaining about, I don't even know where to start from. But since he mentioned the Brighton Arsenal one, there's that Saliba incident
Yeah.
with João Pedro. There's Matthias de Ligt's air quotes inserted over here, handball from the Liverpool Manchester United game.
Yeah.
There were 3 penalty incidents from Fulham Ipswich. The one that really rubs me the wrong way is Ipswich's penalty, where to me the lap trips and
Yeah.
bumps into Castagna, but foul against Castagna. Then there was the non-awarding of a penalty for Newcastle when Anthony Gordon gets, should I say, shoulder battered by Kulusevski, results in a cut nose or a bloody nose. Play on. Have I missed any?
I don't think so. But here's something interesting that somebody told me is that look, everybody's going to have this terrible.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's just one side who is getting it indiscriminately. I think Arsenal, we've had our fair share of horrible referees
Same.
that have cost us the game, cost us valuable points. I'm sure you can look at Manchester United and you can go to.
And unfortunately, Manchester United is always delayed. The non-penalty that was given against Man United at the London Stadium,
Yeah.
which resulted in Ten Hag's job. So that one you can literally see who suffered the most for that decision. And then they came to apologize.
Yeah.
Like Ten Hag would have kept his job as a result.
Would he?
Could have. I mean, joining the match against West Ham is not as bad as losing the match.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you have Delete again this weekend.
Yeah.
Then you have there were a few ghost penalties that were given earlier this season. There were a lot of penalties that were not given. And if we are talking about things that were not given, Fulham again have another gripe with the PGMOL because in Marco Silva and his team's opinion, Ipswich should have been down to 10 men long before.
They got their penalty. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting because the referees are inconsistent, but they are inconsistent consistently.
Yeah.
When I say they are inconsistent consistently, that means that
You expect something every week.
Yeah, every single team, every single club is all of them. They are all having this horrible decisions. I don't know about Liverpool. I don't really watch a lot of Liverpool's.
Liverpool don't have penalties happening in their games as much. Red cards also don't happen.
Points to an slot system as being very patient, very calm and collected. So maybe that's a reason to it for it. But whatever, I just see it as the fact that every single club in the English Premier League
Has suffered some.
have suffered some kind of injustice because of the refereeing decisions done by the PGMOL, the referees of the PGMOL. So the person is like, look, so the person who I spoke to was like, look, hey, everybody's going to go through it. You just have to go through it yourself. Not complain because next time maybe it will be a different team.
It will be in your favor.
It will be in your favor. So you should stop complaining.
So with regards to us being advised to stop complaining, there has to be a reason for you to stop complaining other than it may favor you. So from your point of view, in your comfortable chair,
Yeah.
how do you expect the standards of refereeing in England to improve enough for these complaints to be minor occurrences if they occur at all?
Something I would like to look at is, let me go first to the VAR section of refereeing. The video assistant referees, you come to realize that whenever they go to the video assistant referee, the kind of referees that are there, no offense to them, I think they are on the high side in terms of age. And having this kind of technology over there, you know, the stereotype old people struggle with technology. but these guys have started to prove that yeah, they kind of do struggle with this kind of technology. I'm not trying to say that they are terrible with technology, but if somebody keeps on making this kind of mistake over and over and over and over,
Why is this one in that position?
there has to be some kind of correction or some kind of punishment. Not necessarily punishment, but maybe getting this referee aside and probably going through a refresher course on how to handle the VAR technology would be good. Or bringing in more young referees, people who would be more, let's say, adaptable to this kind of technology and using it. I think that is something that probably we need to look at, because we can't have another game where an offside is called when the line has not been drawn, but the offside has been called by VAR because I don't know. You get it?
Yeah.
Something there needs to be when these kinds of situations happen. I think whoever is the one making the call, making the decision, needs to be taken aside and go through a sort of refresher course, because mistakes happen. I'm not going to deny it. Mistakes happen.
And will continue to happen because we are human.
But if they keep happening consistently, then there's a problem. That's when you have to think to yourself, okay, there's a problem that we need to fix. So for the VAR, I think that probably getting the referees who are currently making these kinds of decisions aside, and maybe bringing in more young referees who probably may not be ready for the big Premier League game, but they might be suitable for the video assistant referee side because of their age and adaptability, I think would be good for English football. Now coming to the pitch, there has to be serious punishments to referees making horrible decisions. There has to be. It feels like they are usually just given a slap on the wrist and then, okay, go and referee the next big game. Who cares? Nobody's going to complain. It's not. I do not like it, and I think that. Excuse me. And I think that there needs to be serious punishment, serious repercussions to referees who make such horrible decisions. Because let's look at someone like what's his name? Is it
Michael Oliver.
Michael Oliver, yeah. It's somebody like this. There needs to be serious repercussions to him. He keeps making certain calls that you sit down and ask yourself, what the hell are you doing?
How do you even get there in the first place?
Yeah, like it's surprising. The referee, who was the referee for the Arsenal Brighton game yesterday?
I'm trying to remember. Was he bald?
Yeah, it was bald. I can't remember his name.
And we all know Paul Tierney.
I don't know. I'm not going to say it's Paul Tierney, but whoever he is, he needs to be reprimanded seriously. But what the heck? It was not a penalty. Please understand, I am an Arsenal fan, so this affects me a lot. Especially when Liverpool drew it, man. Manchester United as a team.
In hindsight, and Chelsea drew.
Yeah, and Chelsea drew. It was perfect opportunity to take some sort of bridge the gap to Liverpool, and it's just so annoying that something like this affects your chances of probably winning the Premier League. But here's another thing I would like to look at. Terrible referee decisions will always happen. Because again, we are human. The problem is, as a team, you have to make sure that, like Azuma Nelson said, I'm coming into the ring with my 2 referees. He's not going to rely on the referees. It wasn't referee, it was men's judges. He's not going to rely on them because he's very sure that they may be biased against him. So it is your responsibility.
Control your narrative.
To knock out your opponent before something like this happens. So, yeah, sure, Arsenal, we are very, very saddened by this, but we should have been able to
kill the game
before something like this happened. So that if it did happen, we know that we do not have a problem. The best way to win is to score more goals. And if you're only scoring 1 goal, you're putting yourself at risk. You're always going to put yourself at risk. You have to be looking to kill the game as early and fast as possible.
Okay. Now, seeing as you and I both watch other sports where similar technologies exist, let me grab something from the world of rugby and bring it into football. TMO.
Mm-hmm.
Let me also graft it from cricket. Um, is it Snickle?
I don't remember that. I don't
But
remember.
and then tennis has Hawkeye.
Yes, Hawkeye.
Similar technologies working very well. The difference between them and its implementation in football as it stands is the crowd can hear the feedback from the official. Do you think that will make a difference?
That's something I think it was discussed by the Premier League team, sort of like having referees come in and explain their decisions. Sort of like, let's say there's a penalty call, you go to VAR, VAR confirms the penalty, so you come again and you say, you explain, this is the reason why we made the decision, and that is why we are awarding this. I think it would be very, very good for English Premier League football, because I think there are certain decisions that, listen, I have to be very honest. I do not think the people who are complaining about
Have a case.
no, like the people who are complaining about the calls, like let's say the fans, know the rules of English football. Sure, we have the technical rules of the games, but you have to understand that each federation or each association has sort of like
Its own unique
sort
tweaks.
of, yeah, a sort of leeway into what it accepts into the rules of the game. They have that leeway. So I don't think we can say for a fact that I personally can't say I know the entire rules of
No
the
chance.
English Premier League
Yeah.
football. So definitely, and I think it will be very good because it will be a teaching moment, letting the fans understand the game they love and love so much. So having the referees explaining their decisions, I think it will go a long way in helping fans to better understand their game and get to a point where the sort of criticisms, sure, there will still be criticisms, but it wouldn't be as bad as it is right now.
And it will even help the players because imagine I'm Matthias delayed. So if it sounds like I'm picking on him, it's because I feel he's being picked on by referees. But delayed conceding a penalty that baffles him and his teammates in London. If there was a reason for why it was given before the apology came, next time somebody like Delete will be mindful to even avoid the if, what, or maybe, so that he takes out the potential harm.
Yeah.
This supposed handball against Liverpool. Again, if it is explained to him how even though he was in close proximity and he couldn't really do much with
Yeah.
moving his arm, it's still an offense. What could he have done to prevent that? You explain it to him, next time he does better. Whoever is in that position does better. Anthony Gordon almost getting his nose broken. Why was this not given as a penalty? If you could find time to explain to an injured player why his injury was in vain, next time he will know that, okay, when he gets there, dive. Because I'm not going to get it. Something, at least, put people's mind at ease. Then it probably helps moving forward. It doesn't do anything for us at that point in time, but moving forward, we avoid situations like that. And then when you announce it, it doesn't really affect the flow of the game because if you've already taken that break to come to the VAR screen and the crowd can hear it through the PA system, it's seamless.
Yeah.
Rugby does it and shows us how they do it. Rugby uses similar grounds as football. Cricket does it. I mean, tennis has only two, maximum four people on the court, so that's a completely different scenario. Cricket uses 22 players, but you probably get between 8 and 11 on the field at a given point in time, umpires included. Rugby will have between 26 and 30 if we're just using the players, depending on which code. So there are precedents that show that you can do it. I think football is just choosing to lag behind.
Yeah, I think that I don't know the reasoning why I think it was pitched. I don't know the reasoning why people
It wasn't
pulled back from sort of like pushing it and trying it out. I think it's something that could be very interesting.
Do you think
to
there's
try
a
out.
cost side to it? Let's focus solely on the implementation of the
cost
PA
side.
because you already have a stadium announcer.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a cost side.
You just equip the VAR
Yeah,
with the mic.
yeah, because
Connects
the referees
it.
already have microphones that are connected. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
cost. I just think that probably, I don't know. I think it's more about trying to protect the referees.
So transparency.
Not necessarily transparency. I think. Okay, sure. Let's say I think they are afraid of giving too much transparency because people. I because I think that when it comes to the referees, sure, they may make a very, very bad call, but to go and then announce it to the fans, and the fans have a video of it, and then you're not seeing what the referee is seeing, then it becomes a huge problem.
But then you hear it.
Yeah, you hear it, but if you do not agree with it, you're going to make what's the word I want to use? You're going to make noise. Let me just say that you're going to make noise because if the referee says, I gave an offside because his foot was over the line, then you see it from a completely different angle because notice that it depends on the angle you are seeing it.
But you're supposed to show us multiple angles as well.
You're supposed to show multiple angles, but let's just say
they are not available.
At that point in time, it's not available. You're only going to go, just for sake of argument, let's just say there's only one angle available, and the referee
so
says
Ghana.
because of this, because of my foot crossing the line, like little bit, like something like this, I'm offside.
Half a two.
But then you go to another angle, and then you see that, oh wait, his foot is
actually behind the guy.
His foot is behind the line, right? So then you're like, referee, what are you talking about? His foot is behind the line. Are you trying to deceive us? Are you trying to make us look like idiots? Are you gaslighting us right now? Because we can see it as. But let's look at what's it called? England versus, was it Argentina? It was in the 1960s.
Which was hand of God, Anna.
It wasn't hand of God. Was it hand of God? No, it wasn't hand of God. There was a goal that was scored.
England World Cup final, Germany.
Yes, England versus Germany. Till this day, people
still can't tell whether it crossed or not.
People can't agree whether the ball crossed the line or
yeah.
not. You get it?
Yeah, because at that time there was only one angle.
Yeah.
But same teams, FIFA World Cup 2010, ball clearly crosses the line so much so that even Stevie Wonder could see it. But referee on the day said it didn't cross. At that time, England would have equalized 2-2. Different game. England ended up losing 4-1. That prompted VAR in the first place.
No. I thought it was. I wasn't it Asamoah Gyan versus Uruguay. Asamoah Gyan's header crossed the line.
They happened in the same week, but this one was round of 16 and that one is quarterfinals. If people hadn't started complaining to put pressure on you, and then you're going to make another mishap.
So yeah, it's all like there are lots of things you can do with referee, but when people say like, I'm also interested in the argument where people say if you continue to bring technology into the game, sort of like you're taking away from what makes the game sort of enjoyable. Like you see a bad call, you are going to complain. You go to your bar, you're going to fight about it. You are going to have that discussion. It makes it interesting. Now, if we get a system where every call is being
scrutinized,
right and it's always the right call, then what are you going to argue about in the bar? Like, I get that argument that it's sort of like if it becomes perfect, what's there to enjoy about it? What's there to fight about it, right? Except for, let's say, we beat you, something like that. Our tactics were better. Aside that, usually the bad calls are something that we enjoy discussing and debating about. Yeah. So if we get rid of them, what makes the game interesting now? You get it? Aside from tactics, because think about it, people are already talking about how football has become a little bit boring. But
there's too much.
Everything seems to think. Everything seems to think the same. Everything seems to think the same, right? Just a little tweak here and there, but everything seems to be playing the same style of football. Right now, we have a lot of the top teams playing much more direct. If you think about it, right now, a lot of the top teams tend to play more direct. It's So people look at it and like, what makes this game interesting? Now, my team is the same as your team because we play the same football. The only difference now is who has more money to get the better
And which
players.
player will be in a better mood to turn up?
Yes, right. So I get it because let's look at a team like Nottingham Forest. Let's look at a team like Nottingham Forest. Where they are.
About to be second.
Just challenge. It's interesting, right? So it's now about the player quality and how good your manager is at tweaking his tactics
Suit an opponent.
to suit an opponent. So I get why people are like, yeah, we want our football to go back to the way it was. It was enjoyable back then. But yeah, but I also think that we need a fair system. Like, because I can't understand how a player gets the ball, barely touches another player, then they say it's a penalty. He didn't use his hand to touch the ball.
He didn't hack him down.
Yeah, yet you say it's a penalty. It's like Ateta said, it's one of the worst calls he's ever had.
And Ateta has seen a lot and heard a lot.
Yes,
So you can
yes.
imagine. And he complains a lot. But this one there, he was right to complain.
Yeah, it was very, very bad. Same with what happened at Brew. Same with what happened at United versus Liverpool. For the first time, I was actually enjoying the United match. A United match, or should I say a United team? So, yeah, I think that something needs to change. I don't know. I'm sure there are smarter people than me who are basically supposed to discuss this, think about this, and find solutions to this. But I think this year something has to change when it comes to football in England. Something has to change when it comes to football in the world. Something has to change in football. That is it. Because
Full stop.
Refereeing is becoming a real annoying issue. Bad referee. Let me change that. Bad referee is becoming a real bad, a main issue, and I think that we have to get rid of it, especially in Africa. When it comes to refereeing in Africa, yeah. Or should I be more specific and say Ghana?
In Africa, because I saw a video, and this is not even with a referee. It's just African football.
Yeah.
They were going to score the home team. They get close to the penalty box, then their lights go off.
Yeah, things have to change. Things have to do. We have to get to a point where we are proud of our football, and yeah, we can get to a point where we are enjoying our football while also making sure that the game is still fair to everybody else.
Leroy, before I let you go, message to the fans for 2025.
Be calm, man. Just be calm. Just be calm. We know that there are a lot of problems in the game and they need to be solved. I'm hoping that in the near future they are solved. Not things that are not problems like the Super League, that one there. I have no interest in it. But things that like the referee situation and sort of like the greed in football, the calendar. I'm hoping that something happens to stop that because players are getting injured too much. The injury list of various clubs are just insane. If you saw that in like 10 years ago, people would be like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with your physio department? Because like the injuries are just getting too much, and it's because the players are playing too much football. And I think that something has to happen there needs to be a decision. I feel like what's it called? Fifth Pro needs to sit down and be like, yeah, you guys, we are done with this. You can't have us playing over 100 games or 200 games. I'm exaggerating, but 200 games in a year, it's not good for our health. It's not good for our career because it's a career that can end at, let's say, 38. Let me be more honest. 32. You are probably at the latter part of your career, and then you are not going to be earning money from playing football anymore. You have to find something else to do. Be it panditry, coaching, whatever. You would have to find something else to do. And if you don't have anything other than, if you don't have anything, then you are in trouble because now your finances, what are you going to do? So I think that Fifth Pro needs to take this very seriously because young players are getting seriously injured. I'm even worried about Lamine Yamal right now because look at Ansu Fati. He was a great player. Somebody we were expecting to be the heir to Messi. Injuries have messed up this guy's career. Jack Wilshere, injuries messed up his career. Cleverly.
Ryan Mason.
You can even look at someone like Michael Owen, who was playing for under 18, under 20, and the senior national team
At the same time.
It's not sustainable, and they have to do something because the players are very important to the sport, and without them we have nothing.
Mr. Oxen, thank you for your time.
Thank you.